This episode is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful website and grow your brand. Clark sees the good in everybody, even when it's not especially there.
Oh, come on, man. What?
He's unfailingly optimistic. He unfailingly believes that people can change and wants to give them every chance to do so.
Superman! Superman!
Strength is thinking everyone is beautiful and telling people when you love them.
Maybe that's the real punk rock.
This is the real punk rock. Just loving. Hello, and welcome to Cinema Therapy. I'm Jonathan Decker, a licensed therapist who loves movies. This is
Alan Seawright, a professional filmmaker who needs therapy, and this is Crypto. He's a bad dog from outer space.
He's not nearly as rambunctious as in the film. Fly away. Oh my gosh.
We're talking about Superman, I guess.
Today we're talking about Superman versus toxic masculinity. In our Aragorn video, we discussed toxic or limiting masculinity, the idea that men have to be a certain way and what they can't be is tender-hearted and affectionate. And what we're going to explore is how can you be strong and protective and powerful and that be a good thing instead of an ugly, nasty thing.
Yeah, we definitely want to clarify being masculine, having masculinity is not bad, it is not toxic. Anyone who tells you that is a stupid poopy face.
Language!
I think James Gunn's Superman is a wonderful example of how to be strong and powerful and protective, but also not aggressive, not offensive.
Sure.
And not controlling.
He is super woke, though, which is a bummer.
Oh my gosh.
Listen up, liberal.
Let's take a look at a scene that some people have said is toxic masculinity, and then we'll explore, is it?
Interesting. I'm intrigued.
Delicate situation.
and his goons were going to kill people.
Yes, but the results of you seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States will
representing
cause
anybody
more
except for me.
problems around the
And-
world,
and
more than a
myself.
war that
And-
lasted
and-
between
and good,
12
I don't know,
and
doing
24 hours
good.
and was just replacing one tyrannical regime with another.
Is that really how you feel?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman, but I question it. Yeah, I would question myself in the same situation and hold off a beat and consider the consequences.
People were going to die!
So people look at 3 seconds and say he yells at her, toxic male, but look.
He immediately feels bad.
Well, he immediately catches himself, breathes, calms
Okay,
down.
I'd like to change the subject.
Okay, first of all, when does Clark get truly upset? People were going to die. Shouldn't we all be angry about that?
I mean, this is Superman's entire ethos for forever, right? Like, if you have the power to save someone and you don't, it means you're the bad guy. Mm-hmm. And he just won't let that be him.
Here's why I don't read toxicity in this at all. He is the most powerful being on the planet.
Yeah.
He raises his voice for about 3 seconds. He yells. He does. He yells for about 3 seconds.
Sure.
Lois isn't scared in the slightest. One, because she's Lois Lane and she's got backbone for days. But also, she knows this isn't threatening. He's not going to hurt me. He's passionate about saving human lives. I want to talk about healthy masculinity because masculinity is an energy that's associated with strength.
Sure.
And anger is part of every human emotional experience.
And it is a very strong emotion, one of the strongest ones.
That's why it's often associated with masculinity. Masculinity feels anger, but isn't controlled by it. Ooh. And I love that we get to see this, that he's not stoic, he's not perfect, that he's passionate, but he's also in control. That he knows that when he's about to lose control, and not in like a destroy the room and destroy the person in front of me, but just like lose his temper, that he says, this isn't me and this isn't where I want to be. Mm-hmm. And he catches himself and calms down. I think this is one of the best scenes in the movie.
It's helped by really strong writing and Rachel Brosnahan absolutely destroying every line she's given. As soon as I found out that she was cast as Lois Lane, I was so excited because she's such a tough, ballsy, no-nonsense, tiny, petite, 5'3" pixie of, like, power. Power pixie?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's
an incredible person, and, like, I'm so impressed with her performance here. And pitting that against Superman, they actually feel like equals. And we've already seen Superman do some super shit.
Super shit? Come on, Lois. You know that one specifically irritates
This
me.
is on the record.
How would I help these two navigate this disagreement in a healthier way? They're both right.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is outside of lying, abuse and infidelity. In a relationship, there's very little else that is here's right and here's wrong. Almost everything else is we've got different perspectives. We're coming at this differently because of our life experiences, our personalities, what we value, and we can learn and grow from each other. He definitely needs to do more looking before he leaps.
Sure.
But Lois, and we see this later, has something to learn from Clark, which is just the value of goodness and the value of human life. And I don't think she undervalues human life, but she considers all the factors, and for him, that is the only factor.
Right.
Hey, have you all seen our cinema therapy website?
It was so easy to build and customize it using Squarespace, this week's sponsor.
We found a template that worked really well as a starting point for us.
From one of the many professionally designed templates that Squarespace offers.
And then, so easy to customize, super easy.
With intuitive drag and drop editing and awesome visual designs,
It will look as awesome as Mr. Terrific's circles.
spheres.
Whatever.
Squarespace Domains also makes it easy to find the best website name for your business.
At one all-inclusive price, no hidden fees or add-ons required.
And every Squarespace domain comes with advanced privacy and security tools.
Your site will be safer than the Fortress of Solitude.
Squarespace SEO tools will help you get discovered fast.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
Every website is optimized to be indexed with an auto-generated sitemap,
Meta descriptions.
meta-human descriptions. Am I right?
You are not.
Oh, and more.
So your site will show up more often on search engines.
And reach more of your ideal audience and customers.
So whether you need to build a website for your courses on how to conceal your true identity via hypnoglasses,
Or your biotech and defense company that's actually a front for an evil super soldier program.
or to chronicle the adventures of your flying super dogs,
Squarespace will work for you, and you won't have to spend months building a website.
check out squarespace.com for a free trial and when you're ready to launch.
Go to squarespace.com/cinematherapy and use code cinematherapy to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. You don't even need to rip a hole in the fabric of reality. Just use the code.
Healthy masculinity values and protects life. I love the kaiju scene. Thank you
So much fun.
for putting a kaiju in a Superman movie. So saves the little girl.
No thank you for doing eye stuff. James Gunn, what's with the eye stuff?
I don't know, but Nathan Fillion put him in everything, and oh,
Seriously, dude? Ugh.
but they're
Gosh, there's gotta be a better way to do this.
Okay, so like, clearly this is a kaiju who's, causing a lot of destruction. We gotta save the squirrel.
which is a nice touch.
It was almost too much for me. It wasn't quite, but it was almost too much.
Well, James Gunn talks about this. That tested negative. People thought it was too much, too cheesy that he saved the squirrel. And he's like, you know what? Screw that. My Superman values all life. I'm keeping it in.
Come on.
And so he's actually upset and hurt because he didn't want this thing to die because he values all life.
There had to be a way to prevent the destruction, but actually save life, right?
Now, I think what's really smart about this take on Superman is he is the altruistic Boy Scout, and instead of shying away from that and trying to make it edgy, they lean really hard into it and then just let the people around Clark both admire it and find it kind of annoying, which is wonderful. If you have a goody two-shoes friend who always does the right thing, on the one hand, you do admire them, and on the other hand, you're like, dude, lighten up.
Come on. This was you in college.
I know. I know. I am significantly saltier now.
Yeah.
I was almost pure sweet back then.
Man, it was sugary.
Okay, next is accountable and loving.
I'm sorry we fought.
Me too. But we're bound to, though. We're so different.
She's not wrong.
I was just some punk rock kid from Bakerline, and you're Superman.
I'm punk rock.
You are not punk rock.
I like the Stranglefellows and the PODs and the Mighty Crabjoys.
Those are pop radio bands. They're not punk rock. The Mighty Crabjoys suck.
Yeah, well, a lot of people love them.
My point is, I question
The
everything.
way Corinne Sweat plays that is so good.
You trust everyone and think everyone you've ever met is, like, beautiful.
Maybe that's the real punk rock.
Yeah, that's such a great mission statement for this film.
Yeah. It's making me cry
Yeah.
because I'm a lot more like Lois Lane, and I wish I was like Superman.
You knew this would never work.
I don't know.
And then back to how much he values every life, this bit right here,
I'm gonna go.
especially for you as a dog
DOJ
person.
warrant out for my arrest, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn myself in.
Wait, what? Why?
Maybe they'll take me wherever they took the dog. I don't know how else to find him.
It's a dog.
Yeah, and he's not even a very good one, but he's out there alone. And he's probably scared.
Yeah. Bad dogs are like bad pizza. They're still great.
So I love the accountability of I'm sorry we fought, but I also love how open he is with what he feels, like right here.
I love you, Lois. I probably should have told you that a long time ago.
I was reading a woman's commentary on this film, and I wish I'd saved it to remember who it was. So if it was you, please comment if you happen to watch our show.
Because everyone on the internet watches her.
But it was so insightful. She says, you know, we often associate masculinity with, well, you have to be strong, you have to always be in control, and you can't be tender or vulnerable because that's sissy.
Bro, don't be such a wuss.
But the author says, but what's really attractive about Clark here, especially for Lois isn't sure about her feelings for Clark. And Clark saying to her so simply and sincerely, I love you, and I should have told you a long time ago. And he's not saying it hoping for an I love you return. He's not saying it to like try and sway her feelings one way or another. He's saying it because he says what he feels and he wants her to know where he stands.
He's saying it, he's being vulnerable because he's strong.
Yeah.
It takes strength to be vulnerable because you have to know deep down inside that if I put myself on the line and I get hurt, I'm strong enough to recover from that.
Yeah.
It requires strength. Everyone that tells you never be vulnerable, never whatever, those are f***ing cowards.
Yeah.
Those are weak, pathetic, pretend men.
Ooh.
That is not masculine. That is weakness. Strength is thinking everyone is beautiful
Yeah.
and telling people when you love them.
He says this, and if she says, I don't feel the same way, or I want to break up, he's not going to say, oh, I blew it, I wish I hadn't told her. He's going to say, well, that's her choice. I'm glad that I said what I felt because it was authentic and real. And what this commentator said is that this gives Lois the safety to explore and sort out her feelings without trying to wonder where is he at, what's he thinking, what's he feeling.
It takes the potential for hurt out of it for Lois.
Yeah.
Because she knows where she stands.
Well, and I don't know, this is personal preference. I prefer candor to mystery any day. You know? Not everyone's like that, but I definitely love to just be like, here's where I'm at. And, you know, you talked about...
I prefer candor in the big stuff. A little
Yeah, oh, sure. Sure.
mystery on the weekend.
Oh, my gosh.
You know what I'm saying?
Candor in the streets, mystery in the
Mystery
sheets.
No, I don't want mystery in the sheets. To be clear, I want to know what I'm getting into.
The punk rock line, James Gunn talked about, punk rock is anti-establishment, it's counterculture.
Yeah.
And when the culture is cruel, and when the culture is petty, when the culture is vindictive, when the culture is self-serving, kindness and altruism and selflessness and decency, that is the rebellion, that is the counterculture.
That is punk rock.
And the notion that kindness is punk rock, I'm like, finally, I'm cool.
Well, James Gunn thinks you are.
I know, and that's good enough for me. Okay, next, healthy masculinity chooses integrity.
Yeah, well, the message that my parents sent with me, I had never heard the second half before.
Well, I'd say what you wanted that message to mean says a whole lot more about you than what anyone meant for it to mean.
Oh, you don't understand.
Yeah. Because it's...
I'm not who I thought I was.
But who you are. People say this to me in therapy. I don't know who I am, and I always say, well, who do you want to be?
They sent me here to hurt people.
Parents aren't for telling their children who they're
They think
supposed
it's where I came from, it's how I was raised,
You're
or
here to
this,
get
that, or the other. And it's like, no, who you are
to make fools of
ultimately is
yourselves
what you choose.
all
And this is
on
what
your
his dad's going to tell him right here in another scene that made me cry. All 3 times I saw this in theaters.
Your choices, Clark. Your actions. That's what makes you who you are. I'll tell you something, son.
Someday you're going to teach
I
this to
couldn't
Batman.
be more proud of you.
Well, I love that we see, you know, I know the twist of the Kryptonian parents and their corrupt agenda was, you know, didn't sit well with everybody.
Clark, there's something on the box you might want to see.
I would hate it in any other version of Superman, but it works for this one. It's nature versus nurture. His Kryptonian nature is where all of these powers come from.
True.
But his gentleness and his kindness and his regard for human life, this he gets from
Jonathan Kent.
Jonathan and Martha.
Yeah.
Next, healthy masculinity inspires others.
Superman inspiring?
Mere minutes away from invading Jampur once again. Now,
The Guy Gardner is eating Fruity Pebbles while drinking milk.
How much milk do you eat? Firepower of the well-trained Moravian military.
Oh my gosh, Nathan Fillion, I adore you.
The villagers cling onto what little hope they have left.
This harkens back to Batman Begins when he talks about being a symbol, right?
And honestly, props to the VFX team. That was a really good CGI flag.
Can't tell. But also, this scene is where art imitates life and vice versa, because that symbol, that S, you know, I know in Man of Steel, one of the better parts of Man of Steel when he says it means hope, it's literally how I've always seen it my entire life.
Without Superman here to stop it this time, the Jarampurians don't have much hope.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
Because she already knows. They already know he's gonna...
Yep.
What does he say at the beginning of the movie? Get back into the fray?
Time to get back into the fray. Golly.
Well, and what are they doing? I mean, they're summoning him to come, of course. But what we see is the Justice Gang, who previously said, well, we're just going to sit this one out. You know, we're not going to get involved. And they see that flag. And, of course, we know what happens later in the film. That flag is summoning Superman. The Justice Gang comes. Why? Because Superman inspires everyone to be like, you know what? We have all these other considerations, all these other political, socioeconomic, all the stuff going on. Human life trumps everything. And I love that even all the people who rolled their eyes at Clark for being like, oh, come on, man. At the end of the day, they end up...
He was right.
He was right, you know? And it's fantastic. Okay, healthy masculinity uses strength to help, not to harm. As a lifelong Superman fan, this may be my favorite scene in the film because this is Superman. This is what he's all about.
Metaphorically, couldn't agree more. Practically, this is actually my least favorite scene in the movie because I'm such a nerd that the physics not working kind of took me out of it.
What do you mean?
He stops an entire building flat by being a little guy. It would collapse around him.
Well, but that's the thing. It is collapsing.
It's starting to, but it's like there's some... Listen, it took me out of the movie. That being said, metaphorically, I absolutely love it. And this shot coming up is an all-timer that I'm going to also have some notes about. Come on, though! Gosh dang it.
Because that's Superman.
That is Superman.
Right?
He's using strength to help, not to harm. We get to do just a teeny tiny bit of... Look, I didn't like the Zack Snyder, like, Superverse, Justice League, whatever crap he made, right? I didn't like it. Dude can make an image.
Yeah.
And this was James Gunn going like, I can make a pretty good shot too.
I lift weights. You lift weights.
Sure.
I'm not nearly as athletic as I used to be, but I'm much stronger than I used to be. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's like anytime I see someone struggling with something heavy, I'm like, can I help you with that? Use strength to help. Why? Because I may not be smart enough to help with a lot of your problems, but I can carry something heavy for you.
The one gift God gave me is I'm a big dumb ox. Give me something and I can probably carry it.
This is what I've always said on family vacations. I'm just like, load me up. This is why I'm here.
This is my purpose for being. Lift heavy thing.
Speaking of Superman action, we do have fights. We do have Superman punchy, but the action is defensive, not aggressive. So healthy masculinity, when it comes to fighting, it's defensive, it's not aggressive. So all the smashy, punchy you could want, but also we need to stay true to the character, so...
If he shoots her in the face with the laser, he stops.
Not too late for either of you. Fight A! You don't have to do what Luke...
And boom, that. And listen, he's not perfect.
He's also trying to protect himself from getting murdered.
Yeah, no, but he'll also smack Engineer into the ground. Maybe more than is strictly necessary.
Clark is clearly somebody who will fight when he has to fight, but he'll be the first one to lay down arms and look for another solution.
In the middle of this fight, he does it.
He finds this tiny little window, and it's again like just like saving the squirrel. Some people are like, well, that was so cheesy that he would stop to say, you don't have to do this. But this is Clark. He's unfailingly optimistic. He unfailingly believes that people can change and wants to give them every chance to do so.
Yeah.
And if that means he gets punched in the back of the head because he's trying to offer somebody redemption...
He's Superman, he can take it.
Healthy masculinity is humble and vulnerable.
You piece of shit. Alien! That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared, I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time. But that is being human.
This whole cast is great.
And that's my greatest strength.
Nicholas Hoult is dynamite.
And someday, I hope, for the sake of the world, you understand that it's yours too.
Oh, that's beautiful. But none of this matters, you patronizing clown. The government gave
He's the
me
best Lex Luthor.
authority to kill you. If not today, then tomorrow.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the construction of a cinematic joke. The way to make that work as well as it does.
Yeah.
Did you notice what happened in the shot before? That's a big long oneer. So it's, Clark talk, cut back and forth between Superman and Luthor, right? And then Superman's last bit of dialogue, he says a thing and we pan over to Lex. And then he comes forward and we walk all the way around him. So we stay in one continuous shot this entire time. And it builds up this tension because we're so used to, in cinema, seeing me talking to you, and then Jono talking to camera, and then back to me.
Yeah.
And then if it's us, I'm talking to you, and then
Sure.
you're talking to me, and we're cutting, and we're cutting, and we're cutting. This is how we're used to seeing things. Every time you cut, it releases tension. So you build up this tension, and you stretch it, and you stretch it, and you stretch it by staying in one shot. And even though it doesn't feel like that's what's happening, because there's a lot of dialogue happening, and there's really high emotions and whatever, there's a little bit of tension in your brain that's just being pulled tight, and then a dog bites his throat and throws him across the room. This is how you do movie jokes.
I know this speech is on the nose, and I know it feels a little overwrought because it's a speech. It feels prepared. It feels written. Here's why I don't care.
Because David Cornswet fucking nails it?
Because he nails it and because what he has to say is what we need to hear. I go see Shakespeare plays. The actors turn towards the audience and deliver soliloquies. These characters would not be speaking out loud to nobody, and we don't care. Why? Because what they have to say is poetic and we need it.
Right.
So that's why I don't mind this speech.
Good. That's what good writing is.
And my favorite thing about this speech, especially as it pertains to Clark's journey, and he's wrestled with self-doubt, and he's wrestled with who am I, is in this moment he fully steps into, I am imperfect, and I love myself. Because he lists all the mistakes I make, I try as hard as I can, I don't always have the answers, and then he says, that is being human, and that is my greatest strength.
And yours too.
Yeah.
He's so in touch with himself and with his strength and with his humanity that he even sees it in this guy who's trying to destroy him.
And he wants Lex to see it, because Lex, if you saw that in yourself, then you wouldn't be so jealous, you wouldn't be so insecure and threatened, and you could actually use your resources to do good in the world. Clark sees the good in everybody, even when it's not especially there. And he steps into this place of real confidence. Real confidence is, yeah, I'm flawed. Yeah, I'm imperfect. that doesn't make me any less worthy. What's beautiful about Clark is because he sees that in himself, he can extend that to everybody around him. Something we often associate with masculinity is accomplishment, pursuing goals, closing the deal. And that can be an important part of this strong, determined, forward energy.
Yeah.
In healthy masculinity, it's balanced with, what do I really value most? Relationships.
Superman, would you like to see the footage of your parents? He finds it soothing.
Oh.
Yeah, Gary, that'd be nice.
Okay, point of order. He's been calling him number 4 this whole movie. Number 4 says, what about Gary? I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
And Soups immediately pivots. Doesn't question. It's like, oh, you want to be called Gary? Sure.
But also, what is it that he finds soothing?
Yeah. These humble farmers who raised him and loved him. And the song "I'm a Punk Rocker" driving home the mission statement from earlier. This is the real punk rock. Is just loving. Right? He is strong and he's powerful and he's protective. But what does he use that for? He uses it for love.
Or are we going to fade to white, James Gunn?
Oh my
we
gosh.
going to white?
Oh my gosh.
Can't go to black on this one, can we? Got to go to white.
Lois Lane questions everything. I just see that it's beautiful.
No, fading to white was the right choice. I'm saying that's
Oh,
smart.
for real? I couldn't tell. I thought...
No, I sound like an asshole no matter what I'm saying. This is a problem in my life.
Guys, this was my favorite movie of the year. This is our second Superman episode of the year, and I'm not mad about it. Superman has my entire life inspired me to use whatever strength I have, whatever abilities I have in the service of other people. And that's brought me a lot of joy. And that's one of the reasons I love that last shot. Yes, it's fading to white, which suggests, this uplift, the light, the hope. But
He's
also,
an angel.
But there's a smile on that man's face.
Yeah.
And people walked out of that theater. I heard people walking out of the theater. I'm not making this up. They were talking about, I need to be nicer. Like, I heard people talking about this as they're leaving the theater.
Holy shit.
I need to be kinder.
Movies affect people?
Yes.
Oh.
That is how we make a living based on that very idea.
Literally why I make movies.
Bravo, James Gunn. Excited to see what you have in store for the rest of the universe and excited for Man of Tomorrow and more Superman. Just give me.
I love it. I love this movie. I love Superman. Not as much as Jono, because I'm normal, but...
It's fine. Most people don't love Superman as much as I do. I've made peace with it.
So until next time.
Sorry, kid. Superman couldn't make it. So you got an upgrade.
All weekend?
That was a good one. And watch movies. Folks, over on our Patreon, we've got a very long extended director's cut of this, commercial-free. Check that out. And this episode was brought to you by patrons like
Peace Dragon 55,
Steve Thomas,
Sophia Elinas,
KDC Firefist,
and Kelly.
Thanks, patrons.